Welcome, loves.
Welcome, everyone.
I would like to introduce Juniper. My honor to do so. Introduce this dear sister. Juniper is an entrepreneur, an artist, a body worker, an energy healer, and a somatic womb therapist. Through her healing arts school, Juniper empowers and uplifts other healers so that healing may ripple out as they share their heart with their community. She and her team create sacred spaces and offer transformative healing events for you to rediscover your magic, connect more deeply with your intuition, and come home to your body and the truth of your inner knowing. In her somatic womb therapy practice, Juniper mentors deeply sensitive souls who are struggling with intimacy to trust and love themselves so that they can let their most authentic self out to play. And Juniper works with all genders. Yay! Thank you for bringing your magic.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you for that sweet introduction and for holding this 3-day container, holding it down so beautifully. I know we're coming up on the home stretch here. And so I'm going to start us off with a little song. So feel free to get up, move your body, and just let this be in the feminine way of just really letting us anchor in these codes, whether this is your first talk or whether you've been coming for a while. We are just gonna move.
Divine be guiding me out of this web that got us all stuck. I write the path, remember it now. You wrote the path, remember it now. Divine be calling me in. All of the answers lie within me. I write the path, remember it now. You wrote the path, remember it now. No longer hiding in the shadow of light. I can't shrink my light. I can't shrink my light. No longer fighting with my intuition. The goddess has awakened and she's moving in her greatness. Learning to breathe, learning to see, learning to be free. Bring it down from my dreams, commune with deities. Little baby delight, and she working that shadow side every night. Divine be guiding me out of this web that got us all stuck. I write the path, remember it now. You wrote the path, remember it now. Divine be calling me in. All of the answers lie within me. I write the path, remember it now. You wrote the path, remember it now. And she working that shadow side every night. The goddess has awakened and she's moving in her greatness.
All right, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for your presence, for being here today. And whether you are joining here live with me now or you're watching the replay, I so honor you for taking the time out of your day to come and connect and use the power of intention to choose which vortexes, which portals we want to enter on the internet, because this is a beautiful, fabulous age of connectivity and access to so many teachings and different perspectives and viewpoints. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am delighted to be sharing with you today, Unlock the Temple Within, 3 keys to reveal your truest essence and liberate your soul's calling. So curious for those of you who are here, if you can drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, where in the world are we connecting from, this beautiful web of sacred remembrance and love. Hello, Colleen, welcome. Yeah, we're just sharing where we're from, Boulder, Colorado, or where we are right now. Love it. Portland, Oregon. My kitchen. Let me pull up the chat here. Yes, Atlanta, Georgia, Big Island, Los Angeles. Welcome, everyone. Yay, so glad to be here with you today. All right, beauties. So, oh, I think someone just put another thing in. Denver, welcome. Oh, that's Molly, I think. Yeah, it's you. You got a sneaky sign name. Yes. Thanks for being here, sister. All right, so you are in the right place if you are ready to stop avoiding the powerful truth of who you really are at your core, deep down, ready to look inside, liberate yourself, your self-expression, and love yourself unconditionally. These are all my favorite things, so I'm so excited to share this time with you. And I really recommend, if you can, to really give yourself the gift of this now moment and set aside any other work, your phone, even turn it off on airplane, set it out of arm's reach, and just let yourself have the gift of having your consciousness focused on one thing. Too often in our days, we are in the energy of split attention. And it makes it really hard for us to really root into ourselves and root into the earth. So here we are talking about deepening our connection with the body, with the earth, with self-love. And so I would love us to start just practicing that right here and now by being really present. And so in the name of presence, I'm going to invite us to just tune in with some breath. So I invite you to bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your low belly. Close your eyes and take some deep breaths in through the nose and out the mouth. And perhaps with each exhale, even release with a sigh or a sound, just letting anything go from today that doesn't allow you to show up fully in this space for yourself. And with each breath in, feel more of yourself arriving into this moment, into your being. And you are welcome to be as free as you wish during this call. If you want to chat with me, just drop a line in the chat. But otherwise, if you want to be dancing, be moving, doing yoga, there is no one path. There is no one way. And so whatever way works for you to receive this transmission, I want you to honor that. And yes, just so delighted that you're here. All right. So again, eyes closed, maybe give yourself a little hug. We'll take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And now I invite you to ask yourself the question, what do I really love about myself? And just be in an inner inquiry with this right now. What do I love about myself? And everything is showing us us. Everything is showing you you. So if this comes easily, that's beautiful. If it's hard to access, no worries, no judgment, no shame. This is a place of discovery and curiosity and play. What do I love about myself? What do I most love about myself? And I would love to hear from you if you want to drop some things in the chat, and we'll be in this vibration of celebrating self-love, celebrating where you already love yourself. Yes, Robin loves how brave she is. Yes, sister. Yes, Chanel says, my resilience and my ability to show up. Amanda, I love how I nourish my body. Colleen, my devotion to self-care. Yes, beauties. And I think we have pretty much womb carriers on the call today, but I do believe that all genders can benefit from the magic of self-love. So if anyone's on the replay, all genders are welcome here in this space. I love that I am a truth seeker in my adventurous ways. Hi, Rhonda. Molly, my creativity and ingenuity. Got so many gifts in the house. Sweet. And so coming back to that embrace, deep breath in, big breath out, eyes closed. And now another question, what about myself do I still struggle to accept? What about myself do I still struggle to accept? And if the answer is nothing, I'm fully liberated, that's welcome too. But just notice any emotions or feelings that come up as you ask yourself that. Are there any pieces of me I'm still hiding from myself, or still shaming or pushing away? Deep breath into those feelings. Big breath out. And if you're feeling brave, you can drop that into the chat. I won't read names, just for everyone's privacy. So insecurities and self-doubt, the parts of me that are afraid, my wants and needs for a man's full devotion. Yeah, so we're gonna dive deeper in. Thanks to those of you who shared. And this is all totally normal. We have grown up in a day and age where self-love is definitely not the norm. There's not a lot of healthy models on emotional intelligence, erotic intelligence, energetic intelligence, and how to really show up in the world in a way that is impactful and in integrity and in alignment and right relationship with ourselves. We're going to be talking about right relationship today. The right relationship starts within and then can ripple out to our communities, to the earth, to all these places. So this might not land for everyone. I'm pretty out there, but it's like my dad sent me an email the other day, like, come to this talk, 4 days of basically talks on like all the crises that are happening in the world right now. And and my reaction is kind of like going back to, I have a degree in international studies, so I actually had to unlearn how to like not take all of that on and be obsessed with like knowing what was wrong with the world. Is it's really great if you want to be anchored into that for service, because it lights you up, and like having that knowledge is going to be able to help you create real change. But if it's something that is just going to like bring you down and tank your energy, I want to be really conscious about how I'm directing my energy and the level of devotion that I'm showing up with. So yeah, just this beautiful recognition where I'm like, okay, I actually feel like that the inner work is what's most important, right? It's like the inner work is really actually having a ripple effect on everything else that's happening in the world, including all these like crazy planetary crises. It's like we can solve them all if we really come back into aligning with our mission, listening to what our soul's calling is. And to do that, we have to clear away some of the debris. Yes. Solution oriented starts within. Yes, Colleen, micro to macro, for real. Yeah, went on this whole journey of my studying international studies to eventually landing back at the healing arts and permaculture and being like, oh, roots, local. We start local and then we move our way out. And one thing I really hope y'all get to take away from this talk is that no part of you is unlovable. And what I'll be sharing today is how to create the safety within so that you really deeply know that all of you is welcome. All of you is welcome, and we get to hold ourselves through all of it. And so these are our skills that we get to develop and take with us for the rest of our lives and share with others. Because once we learn how to do it with ourselves, we can really do it for other people. So this is going to be a transmission to help us all clear out the clutter and open yourself as the pure direct channel to the divine that you are, or at least seed that possibility, right? Sometimes this can be a process of unraveling. So we get to be really gentle with ourselves in the timing of how this all flows. So we're going to be looking into befriending the self, liberating your expression, and loving yourself. So Lillian introduced me for those of you who are here at the beginning, but I will just quickly say it again. My name is Juniper Zarea. I'm an entrepreneur, an artist, a body worker, an energy healer, and a somatic womb therapist. And I have a healing arts school. And then in my private healing practice, somatic womb therapy practice, I serve and mentor deeply sensitive souls who are struggling with intimacy to love and trust themselves in order to let their most authentic self out to play. Because I believe that the more of us are free and liberated and really doing what we came to Earth to do, the more all these puzzle pieces will just start to sync up, and we'll be living in heaven on earth. Here's short enough, y'all. We got this. All right. So to before I get into the depths of the teachings, the keys that I'm going to be sharing with you today, the 3 keys, these juicy bits to go within and explore the inner mystery, I would love to share just a little bit about where I am now and how it was not always this way. It's been a journey, it's been a process, and yeah, so where I am now, I'm living in beautiful Hawaii on the Big Island. I like manifested this really gorgeous, peaceful spot where I am just like out here with the birds and no road noise. And I'm just like, ah, oh, peace, sweet sanctuary. But it was not always this way. You know, here now I'm surrounded by a beautiful community of really emotionally intelligent human beings who are showing up in authenticity and love. And I'm running 2 spirit-led, heart-centered businesses, and paying other people to share their magic, which just like feels so freaking good. But like I said, it's been a path. And so it's been about 15 years that I've been on this path. Started with yoga and meditation. And then 10 years ago was my big, like, deep dark night of the soul, full on like liver biopsy, had to change my ways, stop drinking, lose weight, just like change everything. But I'm not even going back that far, because I want you to know that this is still a work in progress, right? Like I'm feeling really tuned up and ready to charge, and ready to take charge. Yeah, I'm feeling ready to go, y'all. But even as little as 1 year ago, I was still really seeking validation outside of myself. And so I'm going to tell you guys this quick story to just share with you. It's a spiral, right? Like over my life, I've struggled with depression, addiction, toxic relationships, body shaming, poor boundaries, negative self-talk, blame, shame, judgment, worthiness, money struggles, the inability to share my voice, and debilitating perfectionism, and more things. And praise the goddess, like I have alchemized that, right? Like turned the lead into gold, and now I get to share the gifts. So last September, just a little over a year ago, I left to Mexico to chase a man, because I was still trying to find love outside of myself. I hadn't found this deep wellspring of love within myself that I could turn to and be with myself in the pain and the aloneness whenever I felt it. There's this whole winding tale of how I ended up there, and I'm going to keep it concise. I ended a 3-year relationship in the end of 2020. I think this happened with a lot of people with the pandemic, really like reevaluating, you know, who am I spending my time with? And so I'd really let my light dim in this relationship, really like stepped into a lot of people pleasing, and was not in my full power. And so this next year was really the process of rediscovery and coming into more alignment with my soul's calling. So I'd been to the Big Island, thought it was home. I left, came back, thought maybe it wasn't home. Went on this epic road trip where I'm like, I am going to find my heart home and community and know what the next step is. And so I ended up on this solo road trip out to Mount Shasta, 2021, crazy fires, but I was still called there. So I went there, and as I was camping in nature, I found this beautiful spot where my energy body got to take up lots of space, surrounded by tall trees, and other cars would drive in there and they'd be like, no, I'm not meant to stay there. And this space with like 20 spots just stayed all for me for 2 or 3 nights. And so I began to have visions while I was doing this healing on myself in nature of this man I had had a romantic, very, very brief romantic interaction with 2 or 3 years before. And he was just there in my field, beaming unconditional love. And I now know it was unconditional love, but the me at the time was like, he's my soulmate. I'm having visions of him. I need to reach out to him. And I had all these stories, and I'm like, I finally found it. I finally found the missing link to my happiness. We go travel to Oaxaca. Oh, well, so we still had a couple of phone calls before I just full on was like, all right, I'm going to Oaxaca. But the point of this story is that, you know, I said I had no expectations, but I did. I lied to myself and to him. I'm like, there's no expectations, right? But it's like, no, here's the love I've been seeking. And so after about 2 weeks of relating, we had a lot of fun, and then it just naturally fizzled out. He asked me, he goes, Juniper, do you love yourself? And to be asked that directly, I felt my soul go, no. And it was really shocking and revealing to have been asked that question in such a clear way, and yet not be like, yes, like I wanted to say yes. I wanted to even lie and be like, yes, I do. But it was such a clear, full body no. And so I'm like, okay, that is something I need to work on. And he invited me to keep traveling with him deeper into the mountains. But being the mermaid I am, I wanted to go to the ocean. So we split ways. I went to the ocean. And I left feeling like really deficient, like I'd never find the love I so desperately wanted. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I figure this out? And so in this separation, I distracted myself from really feeling myself and being with myself for a few days. But eventually I took the space to just be with myself. Spirit called me to Oaxaca for many reasons. And one of which was I met a beautiful Mexican healer named Bersabet, and she really helped me anchor in my self-love. In these healing sessions, we're doing a variety of massage, energy work, tapping. And this is where you may have seen me share this before if we're friends on social media. Yo soy el amor de mi vida. Yo soy la fuente de ver amor divino. Soy el amor de mi vida. I am the love of my life. I am the love of my life, and I am the source of seeing divine love. So really calling all of that, trying to find love in the outside to bringing it back in. And then I went on a solo medicine journey, reclaimed my creative life force, and really felt my body is a temple, anchor in. I felt it really click into place. This was when I really was able to make it click, like, hey, I don't want to smoke tobacco anymore, and finally give up that habit. And that was a weird place where I had been hiding from myself and hiding from others. Like I didn't want my students or my community to necessarily know that I had an addiction. And, you know, even though it was like organic, rolling tobacco, it was still very much rooted in addiction and distracting myself and escaping from myself. And so, yes, this is only 14 months ago. And I've been teaching and practicing healing arts for, you know, a decade now. And so it gets to be a spiral, and we get to be works in process. And yeah, but what really landed were these deep codes of just like, oh, I'm a creative vessel. I am precious. I am worthy of divine love, especially from myself. And shout out to Tony Jones. My friend Natalie had sent me a beautiful playlist called Rebirth. And in this medicine journey, I received Tony Jones' transmissions of self-love and creativity and let them rewire my brain. Music is a really powerful tool. Music and medicine and breath. There's so many powerful tools, and we're going to get into that in this talk. So since this experience, I've continued to anchor in love and personal power with the support of amazing teachers and mentors. And I'm just really blown away by how my love for myself is reflected in the relationships I now have in my life. Truly heart-centered, liberated, loving beings, supportive, healthy, loving relationships. This is what I've decided I'm available for, and so it is. And it starts within. Yes. Yes, Rhonda, Tony Jones. Love it. Okay. So if I can journey from self-abandonment and self-judgment to radiant self-love and soul-aligned purpose, so can you. And even when we've been on the path for a long time, sometimes we can fall into these traps of hiding the human parts of ourselves, right? So much of what we're unwinding from with unraveling the patriarchy is taking down this hierarchical better than, I'm on a pedestal and I'm somehow perfect. You know, it puts leaders and facilitators in this really uncomfortable place where they can't make mistakes, to the new paradigm of vulnerable leadership and really sharing what's real, still holding space and still being a professional, but also being human and getting to share your heart with the world. Yes, so there's always deeper places we get to uncover, which is really exciting. All right. So not only was I hiding from the world, I was also hiding from myself. It's so crazy that this is even possible. It's like, how do you hide from yourself? Oh, I'm right here, but I'm still hiding from myself. And so through these keys I'm going to share with you, I've been able to drop in and create a much more nurturing and nourishing environment for myself. And that then gets to ripple out into my work and all my relations. And so this is a talk about creating safety in the body, comfort to be yourself, and the space to really listen and see yourself. We live in an age of lots of digital devices. There's basically a way you can choose to distract or avoid yourself easily all the time. And so part of the trick is even being aware of that, right? That some of these patterns, scrolling on social media, this might be a way to really avoid the emotions, the triggers that are coming up. But really the emotion and the trigger, the story, the trauma, the pain, it's all there so that you can feel, so you can alchemize it, so you can take what lessons want to come through and then turn the lead into gold through the process of really witnessing this and feeling all of it, and then letting that gold, that embodied wisdom that you've cultivated through the willingness to see and be with yourself, letting that be shared with the world. So if you are interested in getting more direct support with embracing the delicious mystery within you, I will be sharing briefly at the end of this ways we can go deeper. And yeah, until then, it's just my pleasure to share my magic and my medicine and see what wants to transmit through through my oracle, through my channel. And a note on the word channel, I've had this realization recently that it's like our channel is our pure, uninterrupted connection to source. And sometimes this thing can sound very mysterious. My channel, I channeled. And really, there's just so much noise, so much other people's thoughts and beliefs and judgments that aren't ours. It becomes the process of destruction, demolition, detoxing from patriarchal programming, societal conditioning, what we learned in school from our elders, from our olders. And yeah, we get to unwind from that. So there's lots of ways we get knocked out of our center. And we get to keep coming back to like, is this even mine? Do I want to hold this? It could be from my ancestral line. I get to move through and alchemize and do the work to clear this for my ancestors, for my descendants, for all beings on planet Earth at this time. And so I will be sharing with you a little bit about how inner child work, inner child healing and reparenting has supported me on this journey. So this is not to blame parents. Everyone's doing the best they can, and we are all weaving and playing our divine roles. But for most of us, our needs were not met in childhood. We didn't necessarily receive the attention, the grace, the tenderness to really let our preciousness come out in a way that felt safe and protected and honoring. A lot of us were maybe shamed or made fun of. There's all these little instances. Sometimes it's just in one instance that these little different parts of us can get frozen, or we can develop the story, my voice doesn't matter, or no one listens to me, or, you know, what I have to say, it's not that important. You know, maybe you weren't heard. And so we get to, through inner child healing, start to really listen and cultivate a new relationship with ourselves. It's like, oh, I'm here right now. And so I get to be both my own mother and father, reparent myself, show up and give myself all the attention and all the love. And that gets to happen now. And this is multidimensional work. And so as we show up and really receive these new codes, it allows us to come to peace with our past. Yes. And so this is the journey of creating greater self-intimacy and stronger boundaries. And boundaries are there because when we don't let other people in, we're not letting ourselves out. So we get to create healthy boundaries so that we get to also come out, and certain people, the people we decide we're available for, the energy we decide we're available for, gets to come in. So there gets to be this beautiful dance where we're no longer trapped in a cage of self-imposed limitation. We get to be free. Yeah, it's not your fault if you've struggled with self-love at all. There's billion-dollar industries that thrive off of our insecurities and conditioning to search for the answers or products outside of ourselves. So, and people who've studied psychology who get hired by companies and get paid the big bucks to make games, social media more addictive, to pull us more and more away from our center and into whatever vortex it is that they want to take us down. That's in some ways self-serving, but I really see a lot of that energy really starting to collapse and to crumble as we move forward into the future. Any companies, industries that are making their money off of these ways that are not life-giving, that are life-sucking and destroying and moving people away from their center and their sovereignty, I see that as getting purified and released here in the very near future. All right. So the keys, I'm about to reveal the first one. The first key is listen and lean in. So we can do a little bit of that right now, just like we did in the opening of this call. Just I invite you to place your hands on your body, close your eyes, and become more aware of the breath. Notice any sounds in the space around you. Notice where your skin meets the air or your clothing. And if there's anything alive for you right now, any thoughts or sensations, I invite you to notice them and just be in the witness without judgment or shame or labeling them as a good or bad sensation. Just, it simply is, they simply are. Scan your body for any thoughts, feelings. And take a deep breath in and deep breath out. I'm curious if you want to pop in the chat if you noticed anything from just that simple minute of slowing down and breathing and looking within without agenda. Grounded, Christina says. Calming. Yes, beautiful. Gratitude. Yes, love that one. Soothing, easeful. So all these things are so immediately at our disposal. And yet, we've been tricked to forget. It's a process of remembering and forgetting and remembering again and expanding and contracting. We get to be dancing on this spiral path. Tranquilo. Good. So there's many variations on this practice, in the art of inner alchemy. But at its core, it's slowing down enough to listen and notice what sensations are present in the body and what needs to happen in terms of witnessing, acknowledging, I see you, I hear you, pain in my low back, and then leaning in. Often the tendency is to move away, especially when there's pain or there's any discomfort. It's like, nope, not going there. I'm going to be over here. So the invitation with the art of inner alchemy is to notice without judgment and then lean in with curiosity and see if there's any messages that want to be shared with you. It's possible that in the beginning, there's just no messages. And this doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. Oftentimes it means that the body has just become unfamiliar with this way of communicating with you. When our body has become accustomed to us not listening for so long, it can take a little bit of time to move back into like, hey body, I'm sorry how I was before, little ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And like, I'm here now and I'm ready to listen, and just being really patient and continue to come back with that intention of like, I'm here to listen, I'm here to heal, I'm here to have a stronger relationship with you, my beautiful body, my beautiful heart, my mind, my womb, whatever you're connecting with. All the organs have a different energy to them. And so, yes, this is the process of slowing down, attuning and leaning in. So key number 1, listen and lean in. Your emotions are messengers. So sometimes we can get stuck in an emotional loop, but if we start to see emotions and triggers as teachers, as friends, as ways to access more of ourselves, we can lean into them, love them, whether it's a fear-based feeling, whether it's scary, whether it's painful. The part of us that can hold ourselves can hold us in that. There's often a feeling of being scared of like, what's on the other side of the void. And so the more we know I am unconditionally loved and supported by the universe, we know that it's safe to go forward and to move into that level of inner inquiry, of self-discovery and play. And this is true for things on the outside of our lives too, right? Different things show up as teachers. And this can get a little bit distorted among spiritual teachings, right? It's like there can be a like really weird energy that comes out of like shame and blame in terms of like, oh, well, you manifested that illness because you weren't, on top of your shit or something that's like really fucked up. And and icky, and that's not the vibe I'm saying we play in. It's not, oh, that person, that psychopath came into your life because you're also a psychopath and it's being mirrored. Like sometimes this gets distorted. That is not the truth. What's happening in terms of mirroring and everything being a lesson for you is more like these initiations keep showing up on your path so that you can get the lesson. Do you keep attracting the same romantic partner? Oh, maybe it's not actually a reflection of you and how you are. It's a reflection of how worthy you see yourself as. And so this is an opportunity from the universe for you to step up and say, I'm not available for that. I don't tolerate that kind of behavior. I don't tolerate those people in my life, until you finally get it. The lesson will just keep coming back. So that's where everything's a teacher. So we get to listen and become really observant with what's happening in the natural world, any animals that come across our path. And so the starting point for establishing trust and safety with the self is to really listen to ourselves and tend to our needs. Start asking yourself the question more: what do I need? What do I need to receive? What would be really nourishing for me in this moment? How can I nurture and support myself? And then the second part that's really important is to do what you say you're going to do. When we make goals or commitments and then we don't follow through, that breaks self-trust. And so it's better, rather than making a commitment you're not sure if you can make, to just make a little baby commitment. Like, today I'm going to go on a 5-minute walk, and then you go on a 15-minute walk and you're like, yeah, 3 times better than I said I was going to do. And so that can help establish safety and trust in the body. Right relationship starts with ourselves. Yeah. And this also lets us see, the thoughts and beliefs that are moving through our system. We are conditioned in a way early on to believe that like, oh, these thoughts are mine, but really there's no ownership of thoughts. It's like attuning to a different channel or frequency. And so when we get to a place of embodying witness consciousness, we're able to be like, oh, there's a thought that's coming in, but we don't necessarily have to interact with it or play with it or make it mean something about us. It could just be there. Maybe it's finally releasing. That's how I feel when I find quote unquote negative beliefs or judgmental ways of being or weird patterns. I'm like, oh, there you are again. I'm not choosing to operate from that anymore. And then just letting it go without being like, I had that thought again, just like, okay, it's back in the field. I get to let it go. So the process, right, of clearing the clutter is this belief detox, which we can learn how to do on our own. But oftentimes in the beginning, it can be really helpful to have a guide, whether that's in a group or one-on-one, to just be like, okay, these are things that I think are true about the world. And then have someone speak back to you like, actually, you know, that's a belief. That's not necessarily true. Have you considered it this way? To start to be like, oh, all these things that I considered so foundational and true are not necessarily true. And one of the reasons I like to show up for my mentees, my clients, in a deep mentorship capacity is to really hold that safe, sacred space for anywhere from 1 to 9 months for the dismantling and the unraveling to really take place in a way where you're safe and you're held. So that we get to let all those layers fall and not be like, what happens when I'm in the void and all this is gone? So belief detox. And then, as I said before, many of us are very used to just numbing ourselves, disassociating, distracting ourselves, avoiding what's really happening. But if you tune into listening, you can start to notice, hey, I'm been avoiding that. I keep avoiding my yoga practice. I keep avoiding sending that email. I keep avoiding talking to this person. And that's usually where your next level is leaning into what you've been avoiding. So when you can start to be like, what have I been avoiding? And then go, okay, I'm going to take care of that. That's cleaning up an energy leak. And that's bringing more energy back to you. Even pain is our teacher. When you avoid your pain, you also avoid your power. So I also just want to presence everyone to like these, you know, this process of really getting to know the body can be painful at first. Some of us dissociate and spend a lot of time not in our body because how deeply painful a lot of the experiences and the traumas we've gone through in this life are. And so I invite you into the possibility that the patterns and beliefs that you've developed until now have served you in some way. And that's why you still have them going. You know, they're perhaps developed in childhood to not have you see something that would be unsafe to see. But now as adults, we get to de-armor and we get to drop the old protective mechanisms and take on new ways of being that really honor us and allow our energy to flow and our light to shine. Yeah. And so, you know, if you've been disconnected from your body for a long time, it might be met with silence or like, just like not a lot, and just no answer is also an answer, right? So like no feedback is also feedback. And it's just keep going and just be patient with the process. Be mindful of the shame spiral of like, I'm doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. That's a deep programming that we get to let go of. And, you know, we get to learn how to tell the difference between what's intuition, what's ego, what's resistance, what are all these different voices and what do they sound like? And yeah, wow, I'm like noticing the time. I'm like, I could stay here with you guys for hours. But I want to move on to point number 2, key number 2, which is deepen and descend. So we have number 1, listen and lean in, and then number 2, deepen and descend. So this is about deepening into the earth, our bodies, our mission, our medicine. You'll hear a lot in spiritual communities about ascension, right? And there's seems to be this addiction almost to leaving the body, to like traveling to outer space and the 12th dimension to go find things and get resources to bring back in. But we're here in these human bodies, regardless of what you actually believe your soul is, right? You're here in this human vessel, and the journey of spiritual mastery is to really drop deeper into the body. And at first it can suck and it can be painful. But once we work through the layers and the pain, we can really show up in a way that's loving and honoring and filled with pleasure. And then we just get to keep healing our nervous systems, deepen our capacity to receive and to show up with more joy and more love. And deepening and descending is the antidote to a culture that's hyper focused on the mind. Like my early life was all like academia, and I was very up here, and I was very much a prisoner in my own mind. Like, and I didn't have anyone to talk to about this. I didn't even realize that it was abnormal to have such a unkind relationship with myself in a lot of ways. Yeah. The mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. So keying us into the body and the breath as the back door to the mind. It's hard to take the mind and use the mind to control the mind, but we can decide to use the mind to engage in a practice, be that movement, breath, sounding, so many beautiful practices to choose from that then create a real physiological change in the body and allow us to show up in a different way, to where now the mind is responding in a different way. So I'd love to hear from you. What are your favorite ways to drop into your body? What are some of your favorite ways? Do you like to dance? Do you like to just like lie on the earth, go to the ocean? And part of what I would love to just, share through us sharing, and even if we say dance, we're all dancing in different ways. There's no one right way. And that's part of the lie that's being sold, right? Like, I have the magic solution that can help you know the right path. But it's like, there's only your right path. So that's where inner inquiry becomes so important, because anyone who's trying to say like, I have the way, I have it figured out, and then they try to teach you their way, it might not work for you. And so the true teacher, the true guide, the true mentor is always bringing it back to you, always bringing it back to like what feels good in your body, what feels true for you, and helping you call all your power back home, helping you shake away anything that's not yours so that your essence gets to shine free. So just check in the chat here: dance, yoga, belly fit, self-pleasure, twerking, dance, vipassana, slow breathing, feeling my feet on the earth, laying out on the earth when it's warm. Yes, love it. So deepening and descending, this is really about opening the voice, freeing the body, connecting with nature. Mama Gaia is here to heal us, is here to love us. And this gets to be just a process of discovery, curiosity, and play. So again, noticing where shame and judgment comes back in, and the process of dropping more into the body. This like, I'm doing it wrong, or I'm not getting it. It's just like, you have a body and you get to play with it. And maybe it doesn't look in the way you want it to look. It's more about the inner feeling and dropping in. Some of my favorite things are walks without a phone really help me clear my channel, really help me come back to me. Maybe I sing to myself a little bit. I'm just like with the birds and the trees. Bipedal motion is really good for helping you organize or clear thoughts. Deep immersion in nature, just laying down and let the earth really hold me. The ocean, yoga, stillness, breath, vitamin D. Pranayama. Prana is our energy, and yama is actually expanding. So some of these practices is actually like energy expansion practices through bringing in more oxygen to the body and working with these different practices that are known to have physiological effects and affect the different layers of our body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And when we've really cleared the layer, we get to be operating from more of our bliss body, more of our light body, which feels so good. You could do so many things with the voice. I used to live in the story that I didn't have a beautiful voice. I used to be definitely not rooted in sharing my mission or really like activated in my throat chakra. I could speak, but it was from even a different place. Like my voice sounded different. The way it sounds more like deeper and resonant now. I used to be in this like higher place with my voice, to where it was almost like I was pushing my thoughts out my mouth instead of just like letting my voice be carried and be revealed as it's moving. And that feels good. Yeah. But you can do chakra toning, you can do pitch training, you can do all these little things to open up your voice. And yes, Colleen, I have noticed a big difference since I quit smoking. Like that was definitely doing some different things too. But I think some of it was just like even the willingness to entertain that I wasn't broken. Like I was so in this broken story of like, some people have good voices and some people don't, you know, and I'm not one of them. Yep, feel you, sister. And then there's lots of little places we can drop into deeper to deepen and descend, right? Nutrition, you are what you eat. You are what you consume. So that includes your media, really being careful. What are you putting into this sacred vessel? Womb work is a really powerful way to slow down and go deeper into the body. That's something I spent 3 years in deep apprenticeship with. And I'd love to share with you one of my favorite ways for deepening and descending, which is what I call like temple mirror work. So setting up, I got like 3 $7 mirrors from Target, and then I'll get like roses and I'll have the candles going and I'll have some nice music. And I just like dance with myself and stare at myself in the mirror and let that be a practice of deepening into the reality that I have a body, and also letting it be a ritual of self-love. Because I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I was shamed at different points in my life for like staring at myself in the mirror like it was vain or, you know, like not something you should do. And so I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to look at myself in the mirror with love. And so taking this back and just being like, yeah, I love hanging out with myself. Ooh, I love these cool shapes that I get to make in the mirror. I love playing. I love being in joy. Yes. So we could keep going deeper and deeper. Emotional release techniques, shaking, tapping, sounding, the breath, but tune your beautiful human instrument so that spirit can really come through. Okay. One more thing I want to share here is when I really let go of shoulding myself in any aspects of my spiritual practice or what my body needed to do, things really started to open up. So now I just let my body lead. If it's like my body is like, we need to go on a walk or we need to do yoga, I listen to it and I do it. But I don't do what I used to do, which is wake up, want to lie in bed and shame myself for not getting out of bed and doing a yoga practice in the morning. Now I just let myself lie in bed if I want to. And then when I'm ready to do yoga, I'll do that. So it's been a process of just like, I eat when I eat. Oh, fancy that. I eat when I want to eat. I eat when that comes through. And so, yeah, let your body lead. Let your body lead. Your soul's calling. So this is a beautiful teaching that comes from Katerina Satori, a beautiful woman to follow, beautiful mentor. And she talks about our heart's desires and how we've been conditioned in some ways to almost like be ashamed of what's there. Like I'm wanting too much for wanting my heart's desire to be fulfilled. But what she said, which really stuck with me, is like, what if the goddess herself, what if life itself came into your heart and planted that seed, because that's what you're meant to follow, for life to express and play with itself. And so I just love that. It's like, oh, my heart's desires are never selfish. That's like part of my essence and part of what I'm here to bring to the world. So before we move on to point 3, which Lillian, I'm aware of time, I will be wrapping up here eventually. I want to just lead us in a short practice to just open the jaw a little bit more. So I invite you to just let your jaw hang. And then we will bring the hands here and you'll just shake forward and back with the jaw open. So I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like so you make a little sound and you let the motion from your body just help release the jaw. So we just go for that. And then usually I do 3 rounds, but just showing you for today. And we'll do it again, shaking to the right and the left. I'm going to take off my earrings for a moment. You might want to do that if you have big earrings because they can hit your face. So again, you let the jaw slack, you let the jaw hang, and you make the sound, and then you just shake back and forth. Yeah, it feels so good. It's a good one for just woof, letting other people's thoughts go. I have to even protect my space from my own thoughts sometimes, right? And that's when I really call on my dragon energy, and I'm just like, fire, just like, whose thoughts are these? I don't even know, but I don't want them here. Which leads us to key number 3, protect and provide. So now that we've listened and leaned in, deepened and descended, we get to protect and provide. So through this journey, it's like, wow, I am so fucking precious. Wow, my energy, my life force, my creativity, this is something that deserves to be protected. My temple gets to have guards and guardians and standards. So this becomes the journey now of protecting your peace and protecting your psychic space. And so this can be like fierce mother energy, mama dragwire, mother of dragons, or it can also be calling in the more masculine energy to the field of protection, of providing, of structure, of creating safety. And what's really, really beautiful is these keys that came through actually exist in a loop. So we listen, we lean in, we deepen, we descend, and then we protect and provide. And through providing yourself with what you need, that comes from listening. So the tending to yourself and the epic self-care goes back to listening. So we get to keep deepening and walking this spiral. Listen, lean in, deepen, descend, protect, and provide. All right. Yeah. So for me, it's been a big journey of just like getting really clear about what I'm available for. Basically moving from non-existent boundaries to, and like really low self-worth to like, wait, I can't believe I tolerated that for so long, but I just didn't know that there were other options. I didn't understand that like, oh, as soon as I decide I'm not available for this and I really commit to it and like get clear on what I do want and who I am available for, those people and places and circumstances are going to stop coming into my field. Yeah, and really curing the people pleaser and the self-abandonment that comes with that like, oh, I don't want to hurt them, they're so nice, so I'm going to hurt myself by not being in my truth and not really sharing the fullness of how I feel and coming back to like, what do I need? What do I need to nurture and nourish myself? Because it's only through my own nourishment that I have a well-maintained, abundant orchard, abundant garden through which I can offer the fruits to passersby and to other people. Yeah. So cultivating your energetic space comes back to watching and checking your own thoughts and beliefs. Who do I invite in? Who do I deflect? What am I available for? Direct your energy, daily devotion, and how you talk to yourself. Your thoughts matter. How you treat yourself sets the standard. Deep breath, everyone. So through loving ourselves, we move from fragmented to whole and integrated, because all of us is welcome. All parts are lovable and there is nothing to hide. So this is intimacy. Into me, I see, or into me, I let you see, right? Letting people in is also letting yourself out to be seen. Triggers are here to liberate you. So whenever there's a powerful or strong emotion, it's here to show you something about yourself, maybe somewhere where you're still holding on to judgment or comparison or shame. So I invite you to let your next emotionally intense moment, your next trigger, be a moment for liberation, for like, oh wait, how can I be with myself through this? How do I want to show up? This is happening regardless. How do I want to show up in relationship to what's showing up for me right now? And so some of the things that have really helped me over the years: yoga and meditation, psychedelics, womb work, time in nature, shadow work, vocal alchemy practices, sexual energy cultivation practices, which, side note, really important to do. Also emotional balancing. I do a lot of work with Tao Tantra, working with the organs for emotional regulation and stability. Sometimes when we're like working with big sexual energy, it's really nice to have a clear field, so to clear out some of these emotions out of our organs, out of our fields. Developing communication and intimacy skills, and still going deeper with those, sisterhood and community, and then one-on-one support through therapy and mentorship. So I've had so many beautiful experiences and group programs that have helped me up level, retreats, but it's really been, for me recently, I was lucky enough to receive 3 months of one-to-one mentorship, where someone was able to really hold me as I fell apart, call me out on all my bullshit, and provide really the attention that even with all the inner child healing, I still really benefited from having this level of attention from another human being to heal this deeply wounded child self that didn't get the full attention, didn't know how to use her voice to ask for what she needed, was the real underlying issue. But through that journey of being really deeply held, it's deepened my ability to hold other people and just understand how deep this work goes: death, rebirth, full on cultivation of a new life. So I love this work because it's it all starts from within and starts to ripple out from there. And how we show up for ourselves impacts the businesses that we're the vessels for, and the work we do in the world, and how we interact with others, and what gets to happen on this planet. Yeah. So I'm about to wrap things up here, but if you have any questions, feel free to put those into the chat. Some of you have popped on this call at different times. So if you missed the beginning, again, my name is Juniper, and I serve and mentor deeply sensitive souls who struggle with intimacy to trust and love themselves so they can let their most authentic self out to play. And I offer one-on-one mentorships and private retreats on the Big Island. I do have a school for energy healing out of Colorado, if anyone's there. I'm happy to share more information with you around that. You may have noticed through this call, but the reflections, the feedback I often get is that I am a delightful mixture of childlike innocence and joy with Kali Ma, fierce Durga, let's cut through this bullshit, and grounded earth medicine and lots of love. So we get to be all the things. Yeah, because the nature of transformative work is to trigger you, and it can be uncomfortable. So I like to speak the truths that other people are sometimes too afraid to say. And so I'm going to be dropping a link here for anyone who took the time to come to this call live or is watching the replay. Oh, Lillian's already there. Yeah. There is a link in the chat for a free breakthrough call with me, free 30-minute call in which we get to explore some of the blind spots that may have eluded you up till now, get to get you really clear on what your vision is and what your challenges might be. And if it feels juicy, if it feels alive for both of us, we can explore working together. But that's also not the point of the call. The point of the call is to support you and to get to know more people in community and vibe, be in the vibe. All right, let's see here. So that's there for anyone who wants to connect in that way. Wrapping up, I have a song for us to dance to, and I'm just so grateful for everyone who is here today. Gonna see if there's any questions. Looks like mostly more comments. Yeah. I was really trying to slow down, but I just got so excited and just speaking a million miles a minute. Oh, thanks, love. So Lillian made a note here that closing integration circle is going to be back at 5:30. So if anyone needs to hop off now, they can. And also, if anyone wants to dance it out with me for a song, you are welcome to be here. And so Let me find the share screen button. Computer audio. There we go.
I got soul, I got grace, had to throw away the self-hate, staring all my demons in the face, moving on divine time, a nigga never late, follow my fate, had to learn life ain't a race, slow down, I'm trusting the process of my pace, I call upon my ancestors, cause I need you, we healing every night and day, and they see it, yeah, now the sky raining blessings down, I'm receiving, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, ooh, 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 yeah, focus on the present moment, in the sunshine, glowing, all of my energy potent, all of my energy flowing, shedding my light on the darkness, sacred the path that I'm walking, I'm back in my bag and they know it, from conception I knew I was chosen, I'm destined for greatness, but had to let go of entitlement, used to be so impatient, dwelling on why these labels ain't signing me, watching everyone else, and my head drawing up these comparisons, neglecting my health, the road to them riches was blinding me, open your eyes, taking the light, stressing too much gon' lead to your demise, made up my mind to sacrifice, everything keeping me from higher heights, it's time to let it go, so I can spread my wings, give the divine control, to unlock my ultralight beams. I got soul, I got grace, had to throw away the self-hate, staring all my demons in the face, moving on divine time, a nigga never late, follow my fate, had to learn life ain't a race, slow down, I'm trusting the process of my pace, I call upon my ancestors, cause I need you, we healing every night and day, and they see it, yeah, now the sky raining blessings down, I'm receiving, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, ooh, 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 yeah.
I found the answers within me, infinite knowledge ascending, had to be mindful with magic, I spell with the thoughts I imagine, moving with faith, look in my eyes, it's a stargate, infinite space and time, wake the mind, shake the pride, embrace the tribe, you can't compare a girl to ascension, we all learning different, no path to be driven, experiences all side of the prism, Elohim, I am him, I have risen, from the depths of the ego a sinner, constellations show me that there's more to life, communication charging up blue appetite, remember the reason I became an artist, the love that it brought to my life had to blossom, I'm going through changes, the love of a father, heart light as feathers, no feeling is better, flow in my statement, mist clouds of forever, love every measure, these bars never let up, this is a note and a promise to always stay true no matter what I accomplish.
I got soul, I got grace, had to throw away the self-hate, staring all my demons in the face, moving on divine time, a nigga never late, follow my fate, had to learn life ain't a race, slow down, I'm trusting the process of my pace, I call upon my ancestors, cause I need you, we healing every night and day, and they see it, yeah, now the sky raining blessings down, I'm receiving, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, ooh, 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 yeah.
Hey! My people. Not his partner. I can drop the link in for y'all. Happy song link. Yay! Thank you.
Thank you, Juniper. Mwah. See you back for closing circle in 15 minutes.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you for being here.
Bye.